This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
Just recording, just shooting the shit, just doing the things. But I do want to talk to you guys about a question I saw on Reddit that was like, okay, imagine a dating app where you do not see pictures of the other person.
Okay.
They have like four
No,
pictures
I'm with you. Yeah.
of something from their life that you have to swipe on. Like
I like it.
picture of their kitchen or
Or
a picture
animals?
of the bathroom, their animals, or their like what are the things that you would want to see in those four pictures that would make you swipe right or swipe left?
I think animals for sure.
Yeah. I think, and cleanliness.
I was just going to say kitchen.
You know me, a kitchen and a bathroom. Like I need to see that even if it's not decorated in.
No,
I
want to
be
see it clean.
I better not
But
be
you see, I feel like that one is too easy to fake because like no one's going to take a pic. I mean, some people will, but most people aren't going to take a picture of like a fucked up bathroom. Like they'll clean it.
Have you ever scrolled through, outside of LA real estate, which is
Sure.
very like we're hiring a professional. Well, even still in some places in LA, like you scroll through and you're like, y'all didn't even clean.
No,
Right.
I've gone to a dude's apartment. I like being on a date type of thing, and they haven't cleaned.
But
No,
what
I'm
do
talking
you
about like
taking
even when the pictures. I'm
picture
talking about
of
like
it?
pictures on like Redfin.
Yeah.
Where you're like swiping through and you're like, y'all took pictures of your house to sell and didn't clean.
Fair. All right. That's fair. That's fair.
So that's what I'm saying. Like I think messy, dirty, real
clean.
They're
I
like,
just want
take me as I
clean.
am. Take me as I am.
This is who I am.
won't.
You know,
Swipe left. I do not take you.
I would like to see your favorite outfit laid out on your bed. Like, get your favorite things.
Oh,
The outfit that makes
Favorite
you feel.
books.
You don't have to be in it, but like the outfit that makes you feel most confident. I want to see what that is. I feel like you can tell a lot about a person
yeah.
by
You
that.
see,
Like,
like-
I don't need to see your body. I don't need to see your face.
Cargo shorts. You're like,
Zip
swipe
offs.
left.
You're like, socks and sandals, both in the picture. You know what I mean? Yeah. Favorite books or movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that would
feel
be
like
a good one.
Those are good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone said car on the thing. And to
Depends on
me,
where you
it's
live.
not important what kind of car it is, but it's a cleanliness thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mind riding in a Toyota Tercel. I just don't want to sit on old McDonald's bags.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I don't care. You have a working car. That's great. But
Yeah.
is it filled with trash?
Or even having a car in some cities, like that would be just like you don't need one.
In
Right.
New York.
You
Right.
know,
If
like
you're in
New York,
Manhattan.
even if you were in like I think like Washington D.C., like any place that has a really good metro system,
Yeah.
like inside Chicago.
I got to see that bathroom, though.
Yeah.
That's tops on my list. Does your bathroom have toilet paper? Or are there gym socks?
How is your
Oh.
toilet paper? Are you an over and under?
Yes.
And
yes.
I need
Do
to
you
know.
hand soap at your sink?
Okay. Not bar soap.
Or some kind
Look,
of
Listen,
soap.
any soap.
As long as
Cleansing.
there's soap, I don't have strong feelings. Look, I don't love it if
I
it's
don't
like
love a bar
an
soap.
Irish Spring body bar that you have at your sink, but you have soap there, which is all there's soap. Okay, soap is soap. I'm glad that you have soap. Like
Yeah.
if you don't have soap,
Yeah, we have an issue.
I'm concerned.
I've dumped somebody over like a mildewy towel situation.
Ooh.
Do you know what I'm talking about? When you
Yes.
wash your hands and then you go and you.
Your hands stink after.
Oh,
and
yes.
they feel like a little like there's a heaviness to it. Like you
Yes.
know that there's like a grit.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Oh, my
On
God.
there,
That
like
makes me want to go change my towels.
a
right now.
transfer.
I feel like it happens
I
so quickly
hate
too. Oh, it's
an
disgusting.
old hand towel.
It's disgusting. It's so disgusting. And I'm literally about to go into my bathroom. I'm so self-conscious about it.
Or even just like old towels, like really, really old towels. Because I feel like towels get to the point, if you've had them for a long, long time, like everyone's been in somebody's auntie's or grandma's house, right? Where it's like, it's not that the towel is dirty. It's just that this person has had this towel for the last 20 years.
And it's always been there.
So many times that now it's like falling apart. Like you wipe your hands on the towel and you have like towel residue.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
I have been in bathrooms where I swear to God that hand towel got hung up when they first moved in, and it's never moved.
Like, our work
from
is
that
done.
position.
Our deed is done.
No.
Exactly.
How?
I swear to God. And it's like, I can smell that towel right now.
In my
If you
head.
close my eyes, I can smell that towel. And it's...
No, Cassie. God, we freaked her out. She left. She left to go check her towels.
You can't joke about this kind of stuff with the like OCD, like... Not today. Hand towels.
But I think I would like an app like that, though. I do. I think that could be very interesting.
Like, this is the voice.
Well, then I'd be really interested. What if you couldn't put pictures of yourself? What would you pick to show a potential mate? What are like 4 pictures that you'd be like, I will show myself through these four pics.
I would take a picture of my bookshelf.
Yes.
Because it's got a lot
Everything.
of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's got
Yeah.
books I like. It has like a map.
And just books
it has a
in
globe.
general.
It has a globe.
Yeah.
It has a map of California thingy, like kind of artistic picture with like a little Morocco from Acapulco. And so like it's got things that like really tell you like places I love traveling and I love reading. And here's the things I like reading. Like to me, that bookshelf says a lot about me.
A bookshelf, not just like this is my favorite book, but a bookshelf can actually tell a lot about a person because it's just like it's the kinds it tells
aesthetic.
so much about who you are. Like
It's my aesthetic.
I have plays on my bookshelf because I have read many, many plays. I have feminism books on my bookshelf.
Yes.
I've got the Encyclopedia of Serial Killers on my bookshelf.
go.
There you
so
go.
I'm just like everything you need to know
About me is this bookshelf.
is right here.
Right?
Yeah.
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 Oh, that's a good one for sure.
I will show you a picture of my bathroom and my clean towels.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. Yeah, and I don't know. Like I have like a lot of like I have this wall here where we are, which to me is like it's just pictures of all the travels that I've had. I think those are like things that are really important to me. I love traveling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, it's like it's a harder question though. And then I was like thinking, I was like, oh, what would I swipe on if you don't, you know, see the person? You just have to see their interests
I love
or
a
what have
bookshelf.
you.
I think that's a really
Books and
that one
movies
is just really me. Like it is my aesthetic. It's my style. You can see who I am. Yeah, you know, just aesthetically.
it gets
across the
hard
board.
though. You know, I think bookshelves are good because they are something that you curate throughout a lifetime.
Exactly.
Usually. Like, you know, it's books you've collected or been given to you. And if you move a lot, you are constantly clearing things out. So for
It's only
me, the
important.
books that I have are the books that I love and still like a lot. But I think a lot of the other stuff can be really difficult because it can feel like this would be my concern with this dating app is that you could inch towards classism with this.
I was just going to say, if you took a picture of a really fancy car or like a really nice big house or
which
something.
in one way it's like, okay, you know, like the type of people you're attracting with that, but also like sometimes like a bare living room or something like that, it doesn't necessarily say anything about the person other than that they can't really afford certain things, which for some people is important. Like they need to date somebody who makes a lot of money, but I feel like, I don't know, I'd have to be careful about my judgments with people based on stuff.
You know? It's difficult. Like a dating app in general, like is problematic. You're judging somebody based on their picture. You know, so it's hard to get around that in general. Anyways,
I think it's a cool social experiment. Like I would like to see it done, and I would participate in something like that because I do think it becomes so easy to be fixated on what someone looks like. And we've said it on this podcast many times. You let so many things slide for people who are like conventionally attractive, who you're attracted to, that like you know wouldn't with other people. That like I would be interested in seeing. Okay, who who do I want when I can't see him?
Right.
You know, like who do I actually want? And I guess that's that was kind of the thing behind the Love is Blind experiment, you know, all of that stuff where we're moving in that direction where everything on the internet is so superficial and oftentimes so carefully curated. And we see all the time the ways in which you can manipulate your presence, like through filters or like Facetune apps or
Tinder bio had like one terrible picture of him.
Oh no.
It was
God, you're lucky you got swiped right on, dude.
Yeah, I swiped right and then it was just like, okay. And then I truly like fell in love with him through our conversation because like his picture, it was like far away, like he was wearing sunglasses. It's usually one that I like, if they're wearing sunglasses, I would have swiped left. But for some reason I was like, I was in front of the Taj Mahal. He had a cool like bio thing. And I was like, I'll give it a try. And so that's where we are. But like, you know, solely based on appearances, I think doesn't tell you the whole story. That's Whereas it's kind of cool if there was an app that made you do other things. A little bit.
Yeah. Like examine it on like a different level. I agree. I think that's interesting.
Or like maximum of one picture. You can only have one picture of you.
Yeah.
You know, and so you do want to strategically think, do I want, like, if travel's important to me, do I want a picture of me in front of the Colosseum? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, or the Taj Mahal or whatever it is, where you get to show that kind of part of yourself. If you can only have one picture that you can share of you.
Right.
What is that? And who you are. So makes people, I think a little bit more. And then you also get to see the people who are thinking a little bit more about it and people who don't give a shit, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
God, dating is, you know what? After 3 years of this show, let's just say dating's hard, you guys.
Yeah. Gosh, you really nailed it.
All right, we can wrap it up, pack it in. I think we're done. I covered it all.
I think we got it.
Well, this is my worst date. I'm Christina.
I'm Keegan.
I'm Cassie, and I just realized that we did our entire last episode without doing that at all.
No, we did.
Did we?
I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know that all three of us, and by the time we've been recording kind of like ahead and getting a lot of episodes recorded. So by the time this episode comes out, this will be kind of old news, but all three of us have watched the Friends reunion on HBO. And I really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it. I remember them announcing there's going to be a Friends reunion and I got like real excited. And then they were like, it's going to be like them getting together and talking about the show. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But the way that they did it, I feel like was really cool. Like it was very sweet. Cool and sweet and nostalgic and nice.
Listen, some of the people that they had there, I was confused.
Did not need to be there. Yes.
And some of the people that should have had a bigger presence on the show, like Gunther.
Paul Rudd? Where the fuck was Paul Rudd?
Yeah.
Gunther was there for 3 seconds.
I know.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude.
And he's like the 7th most credited person on Friends.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Tom Selleck looked like, why am I here? Like there is that like, why?
And also unpopular opinion. And I can get hate mail for it. I can take it.
It's Christina talking.
Mm-hmm.
I do not like James Corden at all. I don't like him. I don't.
I like him in Carpool Karaoke. I didn't like him in the Friends reunion. I didn't think it was necessary. I thought it detracted from it. I
didn't hate it. I think that they did things that I was like, this is dumb. Like I would have much rather hear more conversations, more flashback episodes than doing a runway show.
Agree.
That was cringy and just stupid. Like, oh God.
Yeah.
Like, you're just trying to make, I don't know. Like you don't need to.
Although takeaway, Cindy Crawford looks freaking amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Wow.
She's incredible.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool to see everybody. And for me, my takeaway was like, it made me think a lot about all of us have been involved in some kind of thing in our 20s, like Shadowbox, for instance, like getting to go back to something, and especially something that took off as much as it did, like Friends did. I thought that was cool, seeing these 6 people reflecting on their experience with it. And I was pretty happy with it.
Well, everyone who's ever done a show or like been involved in theater of any kind really has had a show where you have an unusual bond, like especially if it's one that ran for a really long time.
Right.
You develop. It's hard to explain to other people because it's like there is nothing that's like quite the same as like this bond you develop, and I can't imagine doing that for 10 years and having to say goodbye. Like it would be so hard. And so it was really interesting to see like the video footage of them after the last show, and they're all crying and like, you know, and I loved seeing, especially Matt LeBlanc made me smile the most because he seemed, there was no pretension. There was no, he seemed genuinely excited.
Absolutely.
About like,
he was
remember
my
this?
favorite person on the reunion.
Yeah. Like he was genuinely just like so happy to be there with them and like loved the fact that like, oh, you remember when we did this thing?
Yeah.
And,
my other favorite part though, Phoebe and Lady Gaga singing Smelly Cat. I really liked it. I
felt unnecessary to me. I just was like, okay. I mean, like, again, I would much rather, like, I didn't come for new things. I came for the reunion. I came to hear them talk about like experiences, talk about, you know, like to me, that was really what I was here for. And it was cute or whatever, but it was like,
hearing it that David Schwimmer and Jennifer Aniston were crushing on each other.
That's so cute. Like that kind of stuff. Like that's what I want. Give me more of that. Like that was so cute and felt nostalgic. And I love, because, Chandler, hi.
Matthew Perry.
Thank you, Matthew Perry. Said something about like, you know, running into, wasn't it him that was talking about running into each other? Like you run into somebody at a party and you're like, sorry, I'll never see you for the rest of this party because this person and I have this experience that we're going to be talking for the rest of the fucking night. Yeah, we're done. Like,
and that's so true. It's true even to this day. Like, you know, if you run into someone you haven't seen that held a really special part of your life and your heart, like, that's happened to me before, not on the same level, but you know, you run into someone who you weren't expecting to run into and like you shared something special that you haven't seen them in a long time.
An experience you can't relate to anybody else either, right?
Yeah, you do. It's just like, all right, we're going to sit on this couch and we're going to reminisce and just talk about, you know, catch up. I think that's beautiful. Like,
yeah, it actually makes me think about like when I was younger and we used to travel around singing, and I'm like, it was me and so my parents, of course, and my parents' friends and their kids. And I actually a couple years ago was in like the Seattle area, and my friend had moved there and we hadn't seen each other since we were teenagers. So, and we had this again shared experience. Like who else can talk about how they traveled around in like a family band? And it's so stupid. And you're like, it is one of those experiences that you can't tell somebody without feeling like a big dummy. So when you do get that experience again, when I was able to sit down with her, I was just like, this night could go on forever. Like of course we talked like we never had missed a beat, of course.
Oh God, yeah.
But then it was just like, you know, you're reminiscing and like, oh my gosh, you remember that time when we went to the cabin and we almost died off the cliff, you know, we were hiking or, you know, like all these stupid things that you're just like, no one, I mean, she was almost like a sister to me. That's how much time we'd spent together. So it's just,
you know, to relate it
weird experience.
To relate it to dating. I remember telling someone recently who is still friends with my ex-boyfriend who wants nothing to do with me at all, you know, and we haven't spoken in almost a decade. And like,
imagine caring.
I know.
Right. Like,
exactly.
Well, you know, I feel like I care in the opposite direction where I think like, and this is what I said to him. I said, you know, it's really sad to me because we moved here together to Los Angeles together. We went through probably some of the hardest times in my life, probably some of the hardest times in his life together, being like completely broke, completely new to a new place where all we had was each other. And like, it's sad when you lose touch with nobody else will know you in that time in your life the way that person knew you in that time in your life and vice versa. Yeah. And so I think that that's sometimes difficult for people in breakups because it's just like you have to kind of just let go of like the fact that like we have all of these very specific memories that like have only been shared with each other, and you'll never get that chance to like process that stuff. And that's totally okay. Sure. But like it is kind of an interesting thing that happens in relationships or can happen in relationships.
Oh, you know, I get it with my, you know, Adam was like my entire adult life.
Yeah.
And so it is difficult to have that, to be like, oh, like we slept on coats in Miami. Like we moved together. There was a lot of those memories that you're just like, But
you gotta let go.
Yep.
But it is an interesting thing, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I do think, though, there's probably a place 10 years from now where if you bumped into Adam,
I wouldn't have a problem. Yeah.
it would be the, like,
well, even now.
even, I was gonna say, even like a year from now, like if you bumped into Adam, you would still be able to joke about Miami and sleeping on coats and, you know, and all the dumb stuff that you've been through. I think that, you know, that's what I think is hard for Keegan. You're never really probably ever going to have that.
No, and it's okay. Like you adjust to the fact that like it's okay. Like you have to respect everybody's journey and beliefs about it are different and memories are different as well. And like, so for me, I would actually love to be able to have that, like, bygones be bygones. There was good and there was bad, and we should be able to like see each other and it not be this horrible experience.
Right.
Yeah.
But like, I have to respect the fact that he doesn't feel the same way about that. And like, whether or not I think it's like, it makes sense to me, it is what it is. You know what I mean? And like, breakups are weird. Relationships are weird.
Yeah.
If I accidentally bumped into my ex, well, I won't because I think he's in prison now. But, I would actually just turn around and walk away because I'm like, I mean, to me,
of
like,
course.
we have nothing to talk about. I am thoroughly not the person I was at all. Yeah.
Also,
I was then.
People value memories differently as well.
Right.
And people like put different value on the past than other people do. You know, like it's you're the type who rips your diary pages out, Cassie.
Girl, yes, I
when you're done. When you're done, you're done. Goodbye.
Yeah. It's so true.
Oh my gosh. Well, who should we fuck, marry, kill this week?
Well, we have done in the past. We did the Friends guys. So why don't we do the Friends ladies?
All right.
Rachel-
Are we doing the characters or are we doing?
Oh, we did the characters last time. So
We
I
did the
think
characters
should do
last time.
characters.
Okay, so Monica, Rachel, and Phoebe.
Right.
Okay.
I think that almost like the guys, there might be only one right answer.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
In my heart of hearts, like, I know I'm a Monica. I am a Monica.
That's why you can't marry her.
High strung. I am very much like, I like things to be cleaned a certain way. I get very anxious when things are messy. Like I am that kind of personality. So yeah, you're right. I cannot marry somebody of the, like, two people that way. It's a mess. I think that I need to marry a Phoebe. Okay. Somebody very easygoing, and I need a balance because I can be kind of high strung and melancholic, and I need somebody that's easygoing, like a nice like water.
And she's the freakiest in bed too. They make mention of that many times on the show. So.
Yeah, no, Phoebe and I'm gonna marry her. I'm gonna fuck Monica.
Yeah.
Yeah,
spicy.
It's gonna be spicy.
Or very organized.
I feel like it's gonna be very organized. I feel like you guys are gonna be like, we're on for 600 hours.
But I saw her with Chandler and everything like that. So yeah, I mean, like, I'm gonna fuck Monica, and it's only because like I didn't like Rachel. I didn't in the show. It was just like,
I wanted to.
I liked Rachel.
I think that
I wanted
Jennifer
to be
Aniston
Rachel.
did a great job of making an unlikable character likable. It really is, and they mentioned that in the show. If it had been anyone else,
you would have hated her.
You would hate her.
That's right.
But yeah, that's what I'm going for.
It speaks to who I was as a kid, that like I wanted to be Rachel. I always wanted to be that character who was like the like stylish one. Like, you know, like Rachel
wanted to
was
be Phoebe.
Yeah, I mean, Phoebe is who you wanted to be. Like, Phoebe is who I wanted to be when I got older. Like, you know, whenever I got older, I was like, actually,
Phoebe's
she was
so cool and so funny. She was so cool, and it speaks to, like, in my heart. Even when I was watching the show as a kid, I was like, I'm a Monica.
You're like, I want to be Phoebe so bad, but I know I'm a Monica. I'm not a Monica. I'm somewhere between Phoebe and Rachel.
I think you're the Rachel in this. If it was us,
Yeah, you're the Phoebe in
I
our
am
group.
the Phoebe in our group.
Yeah, I'm the Monica for sure.
I know. And I don't know how I feel about it.
Why?
That's great. I wanted to be Phoebe so badly.
Phoebe didn't give a fuck. That's nice.
That is true. But I do relate to Lisa Kudrow's explanation of why she couldn't be that character now, which is that I'm 43 years old. Do I want to come off as the goofy aloofy?
But I actually,
You know?
but there are people who like that's their personality, and like I like it if it's who you are. Like if you're being true to yourself and you're just like, yeah, this is who you are.
November.
Then
right?
I fucking love
no
it.
cashews.
You know, and I don't think I would have a problem with seeing somebody who. In fact, I think I would probably like it. It's like a Betsy Johnson. You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
okay.
I get it.
All
where
right.
it's just like, yeah, it's not for everybody. And it might be a lot, but I don't know that we need to, I want to move away from saying like, ugh, grow up. You know, like you need to grow up. Because it's like, no, maybe that's
what
just
does
who
that
they
mean?
are.
Exactly.
Grow up
And
to what? Be what?
I think we should be as lucky to grow up with somebody that like Phoebe, you know, who is unapologetic in who she is and fearless. Like her just performing, you know, with the guitar and living her life in her most authentic way and not, you know, growing up in quotes, I think is beautiful. I think it's amazing.
And she was the only one who was consistently single throughout the entire thing and dated more than until Paul Rudd, and she dated more than one person at a time.
Yep.
And like it was never an issue
she was very
where
progressive, that's for sure.
Whereas I do feel like Monica and Rachel both, you know, especially Monica actually, like put so much emphasis on like the importance of like needing to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
Part of
You know,
relationship.
yeah. And you only have a finite amount of time before like you expire or something, you know, like that I feel like was reinforced a lot with those characters where Phoebe, like, you didn't feel that as much. She got to the point at the end before she got with Paul Rudd where she did say something along the lines of like, I actually do want to be like married and settled and have a relationship. But up until that point, it really, there was no big deal made.
Yeah.
You know,
And I have been
about
a
it.
surrogate too, so
There you go.
Yeah.
there is that.
There you go. I do love also, I know I could talk about, I love the like the fact that all three of them became mothers in really like non-conventional ways. I feel like that was very deliberate on behalf of the showrunners, where like Phoebe was a surrogate or her pregnancy was non-conventional. She was a surrogate, and you know, Monica and Chandler adopted, and Rachel had a baby outside of marriage. It was like everybody, it was kind of just progressive for the time.
They didn't stick to some guideline that you had to
Timeline.
inherit it, you know?
Yeah. Okay, so I am going to kind of hard for me. Okay. I am going to fuck Phoebe.
Yeah. That's going to be fun.
It's going to be really fun. Actually, no, I can't. I'm going to marry Phoebe. I'm going to marry Phoebe because it's going to be fun. Like, it's going to be a fun marriage no matter what. I am going to fuck Rachel. I'm going to fuck Rachel, and she's going to be my fuck buddy, and we're going to go shopping together. That's what's going to happen. I can't marry Rachel because Rachel and Ross, okay? You're always going to play second fiddle. So you're never going to be number one in Rachel's life. So I'm just going to fuck Rachel.
I think Rachel's number one in Rachel's life.
Sure, that's true.
So you'd be number 3 then.
Yes, exactly.
And 4. She's got baby. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh, great.
Fuck. Okay. So, I'm going to fuck Rachel. And then I like Monica. But Monica and I.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I feel like I would be so anxious with Monica all the time. I always think about that episode where Phoebe walks in and she's talking to Chandler and she says, "Hey, Chandler, Monica's looking for you. She said something about crummies." And he says, "Oh no, I was so careful about like eating something in the bed."
Yeah.
And I'm like, see, I can't live with that kind of pressure
all
the time of like everything has to be like clean and exactly where it needs to go all the time. I think I'm going to have a panic attack.
I need you to talk to Eric for me then.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I'm going to kill Monica only because of that.
Yeah. I am a bit of a neat freak. Apparently the lighthearted neat freak. So I would say that if Chris was one of these, he would be Monica, and I believe that I have married a Monica, and I feel really comfortable with that. I like it. I like it for me. I like the
Structure
sensible,
is good.
like he takes care of the bills. I just bring in the money. He handles all the stuff that's like mathy and, and I like that. I like it, we manage our home very equally in that way.
Oh yeah, me and Phoebe are going to be a mess. Taxes, who knows if they'll get done? We don't know.
They're not getting done.
Like-
for sure. No. See, that is a mess. Yeah. I think that I have to fuck Phoebe. She seems like the kind of, like she definitely is the one with like the little bit of a wild streak. Rachel is definitely too much about like into herself and into, like you said, Ross. Like it's just, I mean, are you closing your eyes because you think I'm Ross? Like,
Oh no.
I don't know. Like it feels weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel good with those choices.
Yeah. There we go. Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Yes.
Yeah.
Vive la acción, la pasión, el drama de los creadores de los míos icónicos. En tus pelis favoritas llega el As Featured in Meal. Ordena el As Featured in Meal y escoge entre un Quarter Pounder with Cheese, Big Mac o McNuggets de 10 piezas para acompañar unas papitas medianas, Sweet and Sour Sauce y una bebida. En carteleras ahora. Barapapapa. En McDonald's participantes por tiempo limitado.
And we're back. All right. I have the Tainted Love this week, so I will kick us off with some stories. I was in college, and I went on a date with a guy I'd met in one of my classes. He seemed cute enough and super smart, but I just wasn't that into him. I agreed to the date because he'd asked me a few times, and I could tell he really liked me, and I have a hard time saying no. Hi, people-pleasing tendencies. I figured, how bad could it be? Maybe he would even surprise me. Never ask.
Don't
It's not
ask
gonna be
that question.
You'll be
Yeah.
surprised. It's just not the way you want to be.
We agree to go to dinner the following weekend. He picks a fancier place than I would have expected, so I get dolled up and head out to meet him. I beat him there and take a seat. 10 minutes go by, then 15. I'm working my way through the bread basket and beginning to think he stood me up when he rushes in looking disheveled. His hair is a mess and his clothes look like he hasn't washed them recently.
Oh.
I've never seen him like this, and honestly, I'm a little embarrassed for us both. He mumbles an apology, and when he sits, I can see that he looks even worse up close.
Oh.
Dark circles under his eyes. He explains that he has a big test coming up, and he has been basically abusing Adderall in order to stay awake for the last 37 hours or so.
Oh no, honey, reschedule.
Jeez, right?
Okay.
He's like, this chick finally said yes, I have to shoot my shot.
So freaking at Shadow, they used to do this thing called the Shadow Challenge, which was like an adventure race. And the one that I did, it was the last one that they did, had us awake for 36 hours.
Why?
And let me tell you, at the end of it, I was full on hallucinating.
Yeah.
Full on. I could not drive myself home. Like, not a functioning human.
No.
Being
Wow.
awake that long.
No, and now you're on Adderall too, so it's like uppers. You're like,
I'm fine. This is great.
it's fine. I feel good. Okay, so he'd been awake for 37 hours or so. He fell asleep, and then when he woke up, he realized he was late for our date, so he rushed over.
Oh no.
I asked if he wants to reschedule, but he insists we have dinner. We start looking at the menu. At this point, I'm starving for actual food, but before we can order, I notice that he's nodding off.
Oh no, poor dude.
He proceeds to fall asleep at the table.
I'll take the Caesar salad.
I gently prod him awake, wanting to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he apologizes, but in a few minutes, he's asleep again.
No.
Oh my.
Oh no.
At this point, I'd had enough. This was a waste of makeup and a perfectly good dress, and I barely wanted to go out in the first place. I text him, sorry, had to run, and leave a tip for the waitress on the table before letting her know that he's fine, he's just sleep deprived.
Oh.
She just later did. She's like, bye.
Like waiting for
resting.
him to nod off, and then it's like,
Sneak out. I got in my car and headed straight for McDonald's. The next time we had class together, neither one of us spoke to each other. We never talked about the failed date, and he never asked me out again.
yeah,
Yeah, that tracks. That tracks.
He's like, well, that didn't go how I expected. Just cut my losses.
All right. So I got this one from Reddit. It says, met a guy on Tinder. First problem. Ha ha ha. Seemed nice enough. He, guy ended up being friends with a college professor, or the guy ended up being my friend's college professor.
Okay.
Sorry, there's no punctuation, so I'm trying to like repunctuate as I go.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry, guys. And she had told me he was cute. I meet him at this bar, and he's the only person there. Guys, he looked nothing like his pictures.
Mm-hmm.
The pictures I also had shown my friend who had said he was cute. Like, why would she not tell me that wasn't even close to him? He was nearly 100 pounds more than the pictures themselves. So obviously he had lied about when these pictures had been taken. But we had really great conversation over text. So I stayed. Let me tell you, the conversation was painful in person.
Oh, some people, yeah.
It doesn't translate
Sometimes
for everybody.
it doesn't. Yeah.
He was not talking, and when he did, it wasn't anything a conversation could be built out of. So eventually I asked why he chose to be an English professor, and he ends his answer with, but that's not really what I want to do. So I took the bait and asked him what he really wanted to
God.
do. Ooh, this guy comes to life. Yes. Suddenly, this is the question he's been waiting for.
I fucking love it. I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
He proceeds to say, quote, so imagine you go to a big city.
Okay.
And you hear there's a new store, a chocolate store, and you go there. And when you walk in, all the chocolate is in the shape of dogs. The dogs are lined up all over like soldiers. You could get a gift basket with them for bridal showers or parties and events.
It's so specific.
That's what I want to do. I want to sell
chocolate dogs?
my house and move back in with my parents at 38 so I can open this store. This is my dream.
I mean,
Hey, dude, I actually would like chocolate dogs.
It's good to have goals.
It's not
very,
it's just
very niche.
very specific. Like, it's so specific. It's like just dogs, like different,
not
breeds.
cats or
This is very much 6 minute abs to me. What about, well, I mean, we already have some minutes. No, this is 6 minutes, 6 minute abs.
It reminds me of Office Space when he's like, it's a jump to conclusion game. Like, you're like,
Yes.
what?
Yes.
Okay.
Listen, I'm all for having a passion, but yeah, it's very specific.
Very specific. I was a little stunned, but I humored him and asked him if the dogs would come in different breeds. He said, no, just one generic dog shape.
No, you at least
have
to
a
have
whole
different
store,
breeds.
But different kinds of chocolate, of course.
No, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Like, you can't even take this and run with it and do all kinds of different dogs. That I would oddly understand more.
No, I would too, because people, listen, no shade at all, but like, yeah, dog people, they get very into their dog breed. And like, yeah, you want to go and you want to be like, I want a pug shaped
Oh, that would sell.
chocolate.
That would sell.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm like,
that would
I'm
sell.
sitting here thinking, I'm like, do I want to do this venture? Because this is actually a pretty good idea.
And start a Indiegogo for it.
Dog chocolates.
Just
this is a
but I
most
see.
fucking
I would
hilarious
I would do different dogs. Yeah,
You
and then
have
you
to.
have like poodle
Because
thing.
people
a
get
wiener dog.
so into like they, you know, like they're like, I'm a Frenchie person and I just want like a dog, like a Frenchie shaped
Chocolate.
chocolate, like
Yeah.
a, you know, white chocolate, cookies and cream, maybe like a milk chocolate.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do the cookies and cream with Dalmatian.
Dalmatians, brilliant.
I know.
Wow. I mean, let me call this guy.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving shortly after because it was weird. And that's the only thing he really talked about. He later added me on Instagram, and all of his pictures
Oh no.
had a ceramic dog figurine in them. Like a picture of his food with the ceramic dog next to it.
Oh.
A picture in the garden with his ceramic dog. He put this dog in every single picture he ever took on his page. So he obviously had a big thing for dogs.
Just that dog. All the chocolate's going to be in that shape.
Oh,
that
shape.
dog shape.
God.
There was never a picture of a real dog, nor did he ever say that he had a real dog. It's just dog figurines, I guess.
So weird.
I still have him as a friend on Instagram, and he continues to do this 5 years later.
Oh my God, I need that handle.
I do too. is still taking dog figurine pictures 5 years later.
Do you know who we need to set him up with? Is the
Care Bear chick?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember Care Bear chick.
Oh my gosh, you guys.
I think
That's
about
a
Care Bear
blast
chick
from the past.
because
more than I should.
well, because we don't get stories that have like photos attached very
right.
often.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. This one is called Tennis Date Fail.
I love
no.
it.
I'm on a streak, so you guys will know what I'm talking about when I get to the end.
No.
I was reminded yesterday of a great tennis date fail my buddy had a few years ago. Here's all the pertinent details. He had his first date with this girl. They connected on a dating app, but had crossed paths before with somewhat similar friend circles. She seems like an active person from her dating profile, so he asks, "Do you like tennis?" She says she played in high school, and so he asks if she wants to play Saturday at 10 a.m. He forgets that Friday is a friend's birthday at a bar crawl where he unsurprisingly gets plastered, stays out till 3 a.m.
We've been there.
Ends the night with 4 slices of pizza on the couch before passing out.
Good for you, sir.
Yeah.
He wakes up at 9:50 a.m.
Oh no.
grabs his racket and rushes to the courts.
No, sir.
He smells
You're
like
drunk.
booze. Yeah.
And pizza.
Oh no.
She, of course, had stayed home and relaxed the night before.
She's stretching. She's in her house, like warming up. Like, she's in her cute little tennis skirt, you know.
Yeah.
The first set goes fine. He's feeling better than he expected. But then it hits.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
everyone knows the feeling
Yep.
when it hits.
Yeah.
Pizza. That grease.
Now,
After a night of drinking, it's coming out, honey.
now my friend, he's a shit at home type of guy.
Oh
Yeah.
no, you ain't not today.
He dreads public restrooms, but doesn't want the date to end because it's going well. And so he thinks he can hold it.
No, ma'am.
Not, sir. Please don't tell me you're wearing white shorts.
No, like your tennis whites. No, dude, like just take the L. We've all had to shit in restrooms we'd rather not.
Exactly.
So you just take a break, okay?
I mean,
Better
I'm
go
sure
get some
it's a
Gatorade.
huge locker room.
Right. Now, she has a very strong serve. On one in particular, he extends for it and boom,
Nope.
shits his pants. Oh my God. She obviously notices what happened.
Of course. And you probably heard it too
Oh
on the
my
other side of the tennis
Can you
field.
imagine somebody going for the ball and just squirts? Oh my God. She obviously notices what happens, but does not know what to say. She's ultimately sympathetic and understands when he says, "I have to go."
You don't say.
You're not going to stick around and play more.
I saw somebody on Twitter they tweeted something where they were like, I got ghosted by a guy who had diarrhea in my bathroom, and somebody commented on it and said, how could you possibly not understand where he's coming from?
Right.
I was like,
I mean, true.
it's acceptable for him to never call you again. It's like,
Yeah. No, this tracks.
Oh. He waddles to the public bathroom and cleans his shorts in the sink. He heads home and takes a long shower, then took a seat on the couch and had a slice of leftover pizza.
I feel like mistake.
They would see each other around out and about, but never go on another date again. It kills me every time he tells it.
God.
Oh no.
I also like picturing what that shower was like. Like we've all done things where like, because shower is thinking time. We've had
Oh,
this
yeah.
conversation
Oh, yeah.
many times, and you're just like,
Yeah.
I just picture it. It's just like U2 is playing. It's just like sad water. Like water. Exactly.
Oh my God. Dude, he's got it. I mean, that feeling when you're like reaching for something and it just like comes out. That is, whew. Wow.
Oh, that's lovely. Okay.
Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made. Alrighty.
As a contractor, I choose Hardy Fiber Cement because I've seen it outperform wood-based siding and other hard siding materials. The high-quality craftsmanship translates into beautiful and durable results that leave our customers at G-Fidel extremely satisfied. Using Hardy siding has significantly reduced my callbacks and warranty claims too.
At James Hardy, we're here to support you, from training materials to resources that can help you generate a greater profit. Learn more about growing your business with us at jameshardy.com/build.
Okay, so today I'm excited. My Tainted Love story. I wanted to go a little outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to be talking today about the abduction of Betty and Barney Hill.
Ooh.
Oh.
Okay.
I know Benny Hill.
Not related, I don't think. So Betty and Barney Hill were a fairly ordinary middle-aged couple living in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. They married in 1960 when Barney was 38 and Betty was 41. It was the second marriage for both of them. They were active members in their Unitarian church and in neighborhood events. So the only unusual thing about the Hills up until this point was that Barney was black and Betty was white. And this was 7 years before the Loving decision that would legalize interracial marriage throughout the United States. So this is in 1960 when they get married.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Despite this, the couple was accepted by their community and they lived a quiet life together with their beloved dachshund, Delcy. And there's lots of pictures of them with Delcy. She's like a long-haired dachshund. It's very cute. Betty was an overworked social worker who took on state child welfare cases, and Barney worked the grueling night shift as a U.S. postal worker, driving 60 miles each way to work.
Yeesh.
It's a lot. In what spare time they had, the couple were also active in the NAACP as community leaders, and Barney sat on a local board for the United States Commission on Civil Rights.
Nice.
Yeah. So the couple had been married for only 16 months, but as you can imagine, their work schedules and really busy social lives left them with little time to spend together as a couple. Mm-hmm. So in September of 1961, they decided that they were going to take a spontaneous road trip through Montreal and Niagara Falls. And they viewed this trip as kind of a delayed honeymoon and a break. They we need a break. Mm-hmm. But they left so impulsively that they had no time to go to the bank before it closed for the weekend. And they got in their car with less than $70 in their pocket, which, 1960, $70. Yeah. Better than
it takes
now.
you a lot farther
Further.
than it does now. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But because of this, on the last night of their trip, when they decided to head back home, they didn't have any money for a hotel and decided that they would just load up on coffee in a Vermont diner before powering through the drive back. There was a hurricane that was approaching, and Barney figured if they drove through the night, they could beat it. Mm-hmm. So they left the diner around 10 p.m. on September 19th, 1961, estimating that it would take them about... estimating that they would get home to Portsmouth between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. So they were driving along U.S. Route 3 around 10:30 p.m. when Betty noticed a strange light in the sky. She said that it looked like...
What in the unsolved mysteries are you trying to tell me here?
Aliens.
No.
She said that it looked like a shooting star, except instead of moving downward, it moved upward. And then it started moving erratically, ducking past the moon and behind trees, growing bigger and brighter.
I am so excited
I
now.
know.
I am so excited.
I know.
Aliens. I know. You? Not excited. Christina? This happened?
I knew you would be. I knew you would be. So Betty was also sure that the light was moving with them, but thought that possibly it was an optical illusion, like maybe because of the car's movement, it made it look like the light was also moving. I also want to say I got a lot of this information from a history.com article that's really good. But anyway, Barney, who was an avid plane watcher and a World War II veteran, reasoned that it was probably a satellite that had gone off course, but Betty urged him to pull the car over so that they could get a closer look. And I was like, of course it was Betty. Like,
No.
yeah, black people don't investigate. Like, he was like, we're going home.
He's like, we're not going to make it by 2 if we pull over.
If we stop and look at every goddamn UFO that we see.
But he does. He pulls over. And he got out his binoculars and took a look, but he held the belief that it was a satellite. So Betty took the binoculars from him and saw that the white light appeared to be an object spinning in the air. And she said, quote, "Barney, if you think that's a satellite or a star, you're being completely ridiculous."
I love that.
Now, Barney was no dummy. He had an estimated IQ of 140, and at this point, he knew that she was right. It wasn't a star, satellite, or plane. And he said, like, I knew that it couldn't be those things, but I didn't want to freak her out. So I was just kind of like, it's fine. Everything's fine.
It's fine. This happens all the time.
So they got back into the car and continued driving down an isolated road, moving very slowly. The object continued to follow them, growing bigger as it came closer. Eventually, Barney pulled the car over again. He took his pistol out of the glove box.
There you go.
And got out of the car.
Don't know what it is? Shoot
at it. Very American mentality.
That is Vermerkin.
Merca.
Get your gun.
At this point, the craft was hovering approximately 80 to 100 feet above their car.
Absolutely not.
So Barney remarked,
You and your goddamn made up stories.
This is
There's
awesome.
a baby with a fucking bow and arrow. This one has aliens.
I love it.
So Barney remarked later that it looked as big as a jet, but as round and flat as a pancake. He moved closer to the object, took out his binoculars, and this time, when he looked at the object, he saw the eyes of 8 to 11 humanoid figures peering out at him.
Awesome.
Big news.
Awesome.
So he tried,
Fake
he
news.
says,
Too much coffee, guys.
he said he tried to raise his gun, but he couldn't. He couldn't do it. There was a block, right? So terrified, he ran back to the car, fearing that he and Betty were about to be captured. He got back into the car and barreled down the road as Betty tracked the craft using the binoculars. They heard loud, rhythmic beeps that they would later describe as sounding like the beeps a microwave makes in the car. Then suddenly, it stopped. Everything was quiet, and they were driving down the road as if nothing had happened. The only thing was, it was 2 hours later, and they were 35 miles down the road. So, gap in time.
Okay.
Right?
Did they go to the barrel? Have a shot?
They had a cheap whiskey shot.
Maybe I've been abducted by aliens too.
I mean,
When they got home, hours later than they expected, they noticed that the front of Betty's dress was torn and had strange pink powder on it.
no.
Neither, and like...
Don't mean like that. No.
Okay, so she took the dress, she hung it up. I didn't write this down, but I remember it. She took the dress, she like hung it up outside, and she says that, and you're going to roll your eyes so hard. She says that the powder blew away. However, the dress was taken and analyzed by several government agencies after this. So...
And they said, yeah, it looks like you got a little powder in yourself.
Neither of their watches worked. The strap of Barney's binoculars were torn, and both felt as though a strange presence had followed them home.
Coffee. I'm laying in caffeine.
Before going to bed that night, they both felt compelled to draw a picture of the object that they had observed. You can find Betty's drawing online.
Well, now I got to go look.
Yeah, I'll show it to you after this. The next day, they noticed shiny concentric circles on their car's trunk, and when a compass came near it, the needle would whirl rapidly. On September 21st, so a couple days later, Betty decided that they should report what they saw to the Pease Air Force Base. She feared that they would think that she'd lost her mind if she told them everything that happened, so she held some details back. The officer in charge of taking their statements would write in his official report that the Hills had probably misidentified the planet Jupiter. He would later change his conclusion to read optical condition, inversion, and insufficient data. Later on, his report would be forwarded to Project Blue Book, the U.S. Air Force's UFO research project. Days after the encounter, Betty went to the library and discovered a book by the civilian UFO group National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, NICAP. And over the next few weeks, Betty began suffering from disturbing dreams. The dreams were vivid. Never in her life had she recalled dreams with such detail and intensity. She had them for 5 days in a row before they suddenly stopped. Okay. Let's talk about her dreams. In the dreams.
Let's not. No.
She recalled a roadblock and men surrounding the car. Then she remembered being forced by 2 small men to walk in the forest at night. She saw Barney walking behind her, though he looked like he was in a trance. The men appeared human-like. They had black hair, dark eyes, prominent noses, and bluish lips. Their skin was a gray color. In the dreams, they were led into the craft and separated. Then, a being that Betty would later go on to call the Examiner explained to her in imperfect English. Also, their mouths didn't move. So it was like a communication.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it was just speaking. She hears the voice in her head speaking to her. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, this tracks.
That he would conduct a few tests to note the differences between humans and the craft's occupants. He seated her on a chair, and a bright light was shown on her. The man cut off a lock of Betty's hair. He examined her eyes, ears, mouth, teeth, throat, and hands. He shaved trimmings from her fingernails. After examining her legs and feet, the man used a dull knife similar to a letter opener to scrape some of her skin into what resembled cellophane. He then tested her nervous system, and he thrust a needle into her navel, which caused Betty agonizing pain, whereupon the leader waved his hand in front of her eyes and the pain vanished. After her examination, she engaged in a conversation with who she called the leader. She picked up a book with rows of strange symbols that the leader said she could take home with her. She also asked from where he came, and he pulled down an instructional map dotted with stars. When they went to leave, she was told that they needed the book back, that they had decided they didn't want her to have any memory of the encounter, and Betty told them that no matter what they did to her memory, she would someday recall what happened to them. Barney, after this, began suffering from terrible anxiety and even developed an ulcer because of the encounter. So they decided together that they needed to seek mental help. So the two met with Benjamin Simon, who is a psychiatrist and neurologist who specialized in hypnosis. Through months of weekly sessions, Simon helped the couple piece together additional details of what they think had happened. Barney reported that the binocular strap had broken when he ran from the UFO back to his car. He recalled driving the car away from the UFO, but that afterwards he felt irresistibly compelled to pull off the road and drive into the woods. He eventually sighted 6 men on a dirt road. The car stalled, and the 3 of the men approached the car. They told Barney not to fear them. He was still anxious, however. You don't say.
Yeah.
And he reported that the leader told Barney to close his eyes. While hypnotized, Barney said, I felt like the eyes pushed into my eyes. Under hypnosis, Barney said things like, oh, those eyes. They're there in my brain, and all I see are these eyes. I'm not even afraid that they're not connected to a body. They're just there. They're just up close to me, pressing against my eyes.
I don't like this. The story is horrible.
Aliens. He recalled that the examination table he was placed on was so short that his legs hung off the end. Barney's recollection was less detailed, though he did remember a cup-like device being placed over his genitals. He believed that a sperm sample may have been taken. At one point during the examination, the beings got very excited when they realized Barney's teeth could be removed. They tried to explain dentures to the creatures, but it was a concept they struggled to understand.
He's 38 and has dentures?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he doesn't seem old enough to have dentures, but all right. Under hypnosis, Betty exhibited considerable emotional distress when recounting her capture and examination. Simon ended one session early because tears were flowing down her cheeks. She also drew the star map she had been shown on the ship after one session. By February 1962, the Hills were making frequent weekend drives to the White Mountains, hoping that revisiting the site might spark memories.
Oh my, you couldn't pay me enough to go back.
Yeah. They were unsuccessful in trying to locate the site where they recalled seeing the fiery orb. However, they were able to eliminate several possible routes. In March of 1963, the Hills revealed their story publicly for the first time to the members of their church congregation. After the Hills went back to their regular lives, They were willing to discuss the alleged UFO encounter with friends, family, and the occasional UFO researcher, but the Hills apparently made no effort to seek publicity. Then, in October of 1965, the Boston Traveler picked up their story and put it on the front page with the headline, UFO Chiller, Did They Seize Couple? Reporter John Luttrell of the Boston Traveler had allegedly been given an audio tape recording of the lecture that they had made to their church in 1963.
Who was taping their church thing? That's shady. Someone was like, juicy.
Luttrell learned that the Hills had undergone hypnosis with Simon, the psychiatrist. He also obtained notes from confidential interviews the Hills had given UFO investigators. On October 26th, United Press International picked up Luttrell's story, and the Hills earned international attention.
Oh, goody.
The quiet couple's story became the subject of a best-selling book, The Interrupted Journey, 2 Lost Hours Aboard a Flying Saucer, and a movie starring James Earl Jones.
Nice.
The Hills weren't the first ones to report spotting a UFO, but their story was so unique at the time that it garnered a ton of attention and became the model for alien abductions. Like when you hear about alien abductions now, the way that the aliens look, the way that UFOs look, missing time, compasses, spinning, all of that stuff comes from the Hills story. Once their story became better known, abduction accounts shared certain characteristics, like I just said, medical examinations, things like that, and became a classic sci-fi staple in things like Close Encounters of the Third Kind and X-Files. While many people in the public, as well as NICAP scientific advisor who had cross-examined the couple, found their account credible, the Air Force Project's Blue Book would ultimately dismiss the story, determining that the unexplained craft could be explained by, quote, natural causes.
Ah, yes.
Just, I don't know, natural causes.
Just natural causes. Don't worry, guys. Just natural causes.
For his part, their psychiatrist, Simon, never felt that they were making up the story, but he also didn't believe that they were actually abducted. He concluded that Betty had dreamed the abduction and Barney had absorbed her story, especially since a lot of their recollections matched what Betty had dreamed. But he did say, quote, I believe implicitly in the honesty of these people. So he's like, I think that they think that this happened, regardless of whether it happened or not.
Right. Yeah, which in itself is like, interesting enough. You know what I mean? Like, okay, like maybe it didn't happen, but like
they believe it.
Believe it did,
and a shared.
Yeah.
If you believe it's a delusion, then it's a shared delusion.
Yeah.
Most academics, both then and now, would dismiss their claims. Richard J. McNally, who's a Harvard psychologist, said, quote, the alien abduction phenomenon, in my opinion, shows how sincere, non-psychotic individuals can develop beliefs about and false memories of incredible experiences that never happened.
See, that I think would be like your, Cassie, your worst case scenario in life.
Yes.
Not only getting abducted by aliens, but that no one believes.
Fuck off.
Literally. That is the thing that would just
in heaven for, and then the aliens have balloons. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
Experts have tried to explain why intelligent, otherwise mentally stable people came forward with these experiences. Many psychologists say sleep paralysis and hallucinations play a role. Leading questions during hypnosis, which was the main source that many people used to unlock the memories of abductees, could also have been a factor. So they're trying to be like, listen, we don't believe in alien abductions. Let's try and come up with a rational way to justify.
Let's science this.
I got a rational. Here's my science explanation for it.
Okay.
They stop at the coffee place before trying to make it back.
Yep.
They're like drinking a bunch of coffee. They leave. Then the cook comes out of the back, talks to the server. What happened with that pot of LSD coffee that I made?
That's right.
And she's like, oh no.
That mushroom coffee.
Exactly.
That shroom coffee.
Exactly. They just, aliens.
What they really did was they pulled over, fell asleep for a couple hours. real tired. And
Yeah.
then they got back on the road.
Yeah.
Some point to the stress the Hills must have faced as an interracial couple living in a predominantly white state during a turbulent time as the reason for false recall of the events, with one expert writing, "You have a biracial couple at a time where obviously it was not easy to be a biracial couple. Look what those aliens were. A mixture of black and white. I find that very meaningful."
Okay.
I was like, because they were gray.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I feel like that's a reach. I feel like you're reaching, but
very, very stretchy.
others point to their sleep deprivation and the fact that the Hills were often overworked and overtired. Of course, another explanation is always possible. The abduction actually occurred. The Hills stuck by their story despite years of skeptics. Like many abductees, the couple never felt false memory or sleep paralysis explained what they experienced. Sadly, Barney Hill would pass away only a few years later in 1969 of a cerebral hemorrhage at the age of 46.
Damn, that's
sad. Yeah.
young.
Betty would go on to become a known voice in UFO research and claimed that she was visited multiple times in the decades to follow until her death at the age of 85 in 2004 after a battle with cancer. Now, the FBI and other intelligence agencies are expected to deliver a report on unidentified aerial phenomena to Congress this month, June 2021. They have acknowledged that UFOs exist, and in some of the footage declassified and released to the public by the Pentagon last year, some of the objects appear to move similarly to Betty and Barney's description. Will this change the feelings some skeptics have around the story?
Absolutely
The end.
wonderful.
Ouch.
Absolutely wonderful.
Well,
Aliens.
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 Yeah.
Listen,
Wow.
who knows? No one will ever know. Like that specific story or the story of like other people who claim to have been abducted, like no one knows. And if you've ever watched the documentary The Nightmare, it's all about sleep paralysis. It's fucking
Absolutely
terrifying.
not. I've definitely had it, and absolutely not. I
Yeah.
will never be watching that.
It's terrifying. And I feel like a lot of people use that as an excuse. I think it can absolutely be used as or an explanation rather.
Right.
But also like I feel like there's a lot of stuff in this universe that is we
Yeah.
don't fucking know, and it's like
Obviously.
unexplainable, and like we are moving into an area like we're moving forward with government agencies being like, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, probably,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, there's a lot of like
So who
I've
knows?
seen like those little clips with like, you know,
the Tic
airline
Tacs, the flying Tic Tacs in the air,
pilots and stuff being like, well, don't know what the fuck that is. Like
Mhm.
that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Don't
So I'm
love this.
just yeah.
It's just a bunch of weather balloons, you guys.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
and look, I don't know if they're coming here, but like aliens have to exist, right?
I mean, I hope so. I do. There's something I think comforting knowing that it's not just us.
It's a big universe.
it's true.
Yeah.
It is a big, big universe. When I was a kid, so it's funny, I hate aliens now. Or maybe I just did this to myself, and this will explain a lot. My parents would get those Time Life books.
Oh yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And one of the sets of Time Life books that we had was aliens, pyramids, like myths, and
Which putting aliens and pyramids in the same
no,
thing
it
is
wasn't.
like-
It wasn't. There were different books.
Oh,
Like,
okay,
so there was
okay.
like different myth book
Mhm,
and
mhm.
like it just was like ghosts and different like weird phenomena.
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And these are books that I would religiously devour.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if I've just scared myself into.
Yeah, see, Cassie, I get the
I just-
vibe from you
it's
that
too
you're
real.
resistant
Yes.
to the idea because they scare you the most. I think.
Yes. No.
Yeah.
Yes. 100%. My nightmare.
But they seemed pretty nice, honestly. Like their story, I was like, yeah, they seemed all right. They weren't that mean or anything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really like going to the doctor. The human doctor.
Right.
So I don't know if I would particularly enjoy an alien doctor.
Especially
But
when you wouldn't. I mean, I feel like you're not really doing much of anything.
And you're not mentally ready for it. Like I was just ready to go home and go to sleep. Okay.
Yeah.
Like also, where was Delcy during that time? She was on the road trip with them. Did they leave Delcy in the car? What happened?
the
2
aliens were
hours.
like, look at that cute fucking doctor.
Yeah, they were. They just giggled for 20
Souvenir.
No, because they were pictures taken with Delsey later, so they still had Delsey later. But I was like,
They're like, ooh, look at the snack.
snicky snack. No, but they do go out of their way to say that she was on the road with them. So I don't know. I don't know what happened to Delsey.
They were like, oh, this is delightful. Like Delsey,
Look how cute it is.
Look how cute it is. Took pictures of it. Delsey glows in the dark.
Right?
You can't use a compass around Delsey.
She always points north.
Our phones act up whenever Delsey's around.
Amazing.
She lived to be like 175.
Right.
Everybody's like, God, Delsey's
Delsey
still kicking it.
still hanging in there. So what are you guys watching this week?
So of course, I was like, man, I want to watch a scary movie. So I like Googled what are the best recent scary movies, and it's a movie called Relic.
Ooh,
and
that sounds scary. I don't like that word.
So if you liked a movie like movies like
it sounds
Relic,
scary.
if you like movies like Hereditary, it's kind of similar in that it's not as like gory as Hereditary, but it's got a similar like kind of dark vibe.
Eric
Sounds
really
like I'd
haunted
rather
house.
like Hereditary.
He really wants to watch the new Conjuring that came out.
Waiting. I'm counting down. Yeah.
I'm like,
Y'all are crazy.
Yes. Oh God, I love it. I love it. But yeah, I mean, it's again, I've said so many times on this podcast, like it's so hard to find an actually like good scary movie because I feel like so many of them, I don't know what it is. I think it's just because people know that like people are going to eat them up anyway, that so many of them are bad actually. Like they're so like predictable and the writing's bad.
It's been done before.
This is unique and I did actually really like it. So there's my recommendation.
Nice. Well, I want to start watching. I haven't yet, but it's on my list. I haven't really watched anything new this week, but I wanted to know if you guys seen the preview for the show called, I think it's called Sweet Tooth.
Oh, I don't know about that. I saw the teaser on Netflix and I was like, is that a little porcupine baby? I don't know.
Good, but like all of a sudden, like
Oh no,
something
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
It looks like Ann Gady's came up with like like a scary
it's supposed
movie.
to be amazing. The reviews are like really good, but I watched the trailer and I was like, really? I mean, it's been getting incredible reviews.
It's like a mashup between Ann Geddes and who's the guy who always does the weird
Guillermo del Toro.
No, Kingdom. What's his name? That does like the whimsical Zissou. Steve Zissou.
Oh, Wes Anderson.
Oh yeah,
Ann Geddes and Wes Anderson had a baby.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued. I think just because the reviews are so good. So listeners, if you guys have watched it and you think I should give it a go. But the other thing I have been watching is there's new episodes of Love and Robots.
Oh yeah, I
which
heard this season wasn't as good as last season.
I've actually enjoyed it. I've only watched 2 episodes and I've really enjoyed them.
Yeah.
And maybe because I'm missing like my Black Mirror fix and this comes kind of close. So
yeah,
I
am missing Black Mirror fix too.
We lived Black Mirror. That's how
they were just like,
nobody has the
season
mental
6 was we all had to live through it.
That's right. Season 6 was 2020.
You know, like I feel like there's a reason why shows like that. And then as much as I fucking love Handmaid's Tale, I have not started.
No.
And I think it's just because like we all just went through collective
Dystopia.
social trauma.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I don't know if I'm not ready. I'm just not ready. I will watch it, but I'm not ready yet. I could never watch a Black Mirror right now. It's just like
it's too
that
soon.
I could. Handmaid's Tale though. Too soon.
Yeah.
I can't. I as well am like stuck on the inability to take the next
it's
season.
It's too much.
So I don't know. Stop me if I've shared this already. Did I talk to you guys about watching 30 for 30?
No.
Okay. So I went through like a rash of like 30 for 30. So
First of all, those are incredible documentaries.
So fucking good.
Yeah.
So good. And we know I love sports. And so I watched like 3 in a row. I watched 42-1, which is Mike Tyson's fight against Buster Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
I watched, of course, because I wanted to round out my Columbus category in the 30 for 30s. And I was like, Buster Douglas from Columbus. Like literally Buster Douglas lived like a block and a half from my house. Like right around the corner. Like he moved to Johnstown and was like like literally lived, right around the corner from me. Anyway, so I love boxing. I remember the fight, but it was things I didn't remember. So that was really good. And then I watched the Tyson documentary, like the first part of the Tyson documentary. And I was like, holy smokes. Like that's really good too. I think it's supposed to be a 2-parter, but
yeah.
But I forgot about that fucking interview that they did with Barbara Walters.
Oh, I don't remember.
On the couch. And this is when Gibbons, what's her name?
Robin
Gibbons came out and was like, I would like to join in on this interview. And like he's sitting there stiff as a fucking like log, all like, what the fuck's happening? And she's like, yeah, no, he is very aggressive with me. And yes, he does.
Yeah.
And I was just like, the look on his face, he is just stone cold, like not moving. Just
that's
like
scary.
It was, and she was just frank about it. Like and I think that's probably, I think she got like a lot of backlash about it. Like,
probably.
you didn't act like a victim of abuse. So you
can't,
right?
Nothing you do can be right. Like there's no right way apparently. Cause it's just like, if you don't say anything, then why didn't you say anything? If you say something, then victims don't usually say anything. So it's like, what the fuck?
Damned if you do, damned if you don't, right? Well, and I'm like, her career, like like the beginning of the documentary, it's very much like, how in this day and age do we let a Mike Tyson come back? And in the day and
we
age,
let a Chris Brown come back, and that was not that long ago.
Did we?
Yes.
How's he back? Where's he doing?
He's still making music and touring and making tons of money.
No,
yep.
That.
Yep. Yeah. No.
Yeah. But then Givens, yes, white again.
Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Hasn't done like anything and basically got like super ostracized and pushed out. I mean, mostly from the industry.
Society's cool to women, right?
Yeah.
Guys? Yeah.
Anyway, that was fun. Glad I brought that up.
Oh my gosh. One more thing. I know we kind of touched on it a little bit off mic, but anybody and everybody should watch Bo Burnham's Inside.
I need to see it. I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard it was great.
Yeah, it's it's a really good, I think, portrait of an artist trying to do something during the pandemic, and I think it really encapsulates a lot. And I found it to be incredibly moving. I don't know that much about Home Dude, but yeah,
he's
really
brilliant.
enjoyed it.
Everything I've ever seen him do, and he's been brilliant forever. Like because he's been doing comedy since he was pretty young.
Yeah,
yeah.
So yeah, it's really, really, really good. Definitely recommend. But if you guys have stuff that we should watch, if you have stories to tell because you're out on the dating scene again and you had a date that shit their pants, definitely go.
We should be your first stop, really.
Honestly.
Don't even go home yet.
Why haven't you written it in
Text
already?
us, DM us, go to our one-stop shop of website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com, and we love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.